What's crack-a-lackin' hardcores and degenerates? Today I am both Josh Moody and John Batanti. Welcome to Algorithm versus Experts. John is in a third world nation, unable to get good enough Wi-Fi to record with us. Boo, right? Boo, boo that man. Boo, Nepal. Boo. Anyways, so today I will be reading out both of our picks. If you guys have been enjoying our content, please remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. It does a lot for the algorithm to be able to show that computer that you enjoy us. Don't just keep it to yourself. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Like jump on your car, stand on top of your car in the middle of traffic, and tell everybody how much you're enjoying Algorithm versus the Experts. So today's card is Santos versus Hill. First fight of the night is Myra Bueno Silva versus Stephanie Egger. Um, Bueno Silva has a decent record, but she hasn't looked stellar in her fights. She got smashed by Montana De La Rosa, lost to Manon Furo, and then her two wins in the UFC are both arm bars. Oh, she's got a ninja choke victory. That's weird. Um, so I'm not super high on her. I don't know a ton about Stephanie Egger, but she looked better. She looked pretty good in her last fight against Jessica Rose Clark. Oh yeah, that was just recent. Oh no, that was 6 months ago. Damn. Um, I'm pretty sure that was like she hit her with like an easy judo toss and then got the armbar from top position. Armbars are really, really common in judo, um, predominantly from top of turtle. Anyway, both John and I have picked Stephanie Egger. Next fight is Corey McKenna versus Miranda Granger. Corey McKenna's from Wales, but trains out of Team Alpha Male, which I guess is now just Team Alpha. Team Alpha. Um, is my mic not working? I thought it was working. Uh, Corey McKenna looked pretty good in her last fight. Or no, not in her last fight. She looks good in her other fights. And then she lost to Elise Reed. But I think that was just like weird decision making thing. Elise Reed came off looking a lot better than expected. Uh, Miranda Granger has not looked great since she got to the UFC. Her only win in the UFC is over Hannah Goldie, who I don't expect to stay in the UFC after that last loss to Molly McCann. I think she's just in there as like a literal hot commodity. And then other than that, uh, Miranda Granger has been finished by Amanda Lemos, which makes sense. That's what Amanda Lemos does, and then lost to Ashley Yoder as well. So not a great showing from Miranda Granger so far. I picked Corey McKenna. Let's see, John also picked Corey McKenna. Your next fight of the night is Takashi Sato versus Brian Battle. The only time I've seen Brian Battle fight was his Ultimate Fighter finale. He won, I think it was the most recent season. If it wasn't the most recent season, there was one more season after that. And he looked really good. He's got super active footwork, super active takedowns. Oh, he fought one of the Urbina brothers, too. That's probably... Was that in the UFC or was that... Okay, that was on the show. What? That doesn't make any sense. But I've liked what I've seen out of Brian Battle, and he's coming out of North Carolina. There's not a lot of guys that we're seeing out of North Carolina yet. But the guys that I have seen coming out of that area, there's better wrestling in the Carolinas than you would expect. and they are starting to produce pretty high quality fighters as well. Yeah, Brian Battle's got wins over some like legit fighters, even as an amateur. Beat Cody Brundage, beat Impa Kasanganai. As a pro, he did well on the Ultimate Fighter. Yeah, I like his style, but Takashi Sato's got a lot more fights than he does. That being said, Takashi Sato gets hit almost twice as much as he lands on the other guy. And Brian Battle has almost the opposite. Brian Battle hits people 2.5 times more often. No, 2.5. Yeah, 2.5 times more per minute than he gets hit, and Takashi Sato has the opposite going on. Um, Sato doesn't seem to be interested in takedowns. If you get hit a lot and you don't take people down, it's hard for me to bet on you, right? I don't know. I have picked Brian Battle. I'm expecting him to do pretty well against Takashi Sato, um, whose most recent losses were to Gunnar Nelson, who took him down and held his back, I think, for all 3 rounds, and Miguel Baeza, who finished him by arm triangle. Baeza's a bad motherfucker, but Baeza's not a grappler first, right? He did beat Jason Witt, which is impressive because that dude's a solid grappler. And then John picked Sato. So there's your first fight that John's gonna have wrong. Last week John kicked my ass though. He only got 2 fights wrong on the entire card. The Morono fight and the Edwards versus Jocelyn Edwards versus Jian Kim. Everything else he got right. So good for him. He is currently stomping me in the record. Hey, if you guys have been keeping up with what we're doing, please post a comment on what you would prefer, what our bet should be, right? We have a bet going until the end of the year to see who can pick the most fights. We're gonna have to have a prize or a punishment. I don't know. What do you call it for the loser at the end of the year? Maybe the loser's got to go streaking, quit his job. I don't know. John's just got to move out of PA, find something cooler. Who knows? Next fight is Mikhail Oleksiejczuk versus Sam Alvey. Sam Alvey was the best fighter in Wisconsin when I was in high school. And the fact that he is still going strong, I mean, he's not winning, but he's still fighting, is pretty impressive. At 36 years old, he's been in the UFC since 2014. So he's been in the UFC since he was 28. Like, that's a long time. But unfortunately, he doesn't care about the wins and losses as much as he cares about just fighting. And he's cool with the money that he's getting. So he's just like, yeah, you want me to fight? Like, I'll fight. When do you want me to fight? 2 weeks? Got you. You want me to fight 6 weeks? Got you. A week and a half? I got you, right? So he's taken a lot of fights that didn't really make sense, and it hasn't really reflected well on his record. He's a dude who hits really, really hard, but he's kind of a one-trick pony. And Oleksiejczuk is pretty good at that trick. Oleksiejczuk is I believe he's a southpaw, but the dude throws a crazy amount of body shots. Oh, damn. He's only 27? Yeah, he's been in the UFC since he was 22. Oleksiejczuk, he's been... Oh. Apologies if I sneezed in someone's ear. Oleksiejczuk is a pretty good striker. I think he should be able to deal with Alvey. He's also pretty young. Oh, they're both southpaws. Yeah, this is not going to go to the ground at all. Neither of them bother. Uh, I have Oleg Shajak. John also has Oleg Shajak. Your next fight is Terrence T Rex McKinney versus Eric Gonzalez. Um, Eric Gonzalez. I don't actually know who Eric Gonzalez is. It's kind of annoying. Must be a Contender Series guy. Not even. But his only fight in the UFC was against Jim Miller. Um, he has some decent names on his record earlier. He fought Rafa Garcia, who won, what would it be like, last week, was it? No, oh, he lost. He lost a close split decision to Drakkar Close. Humberto Bandene. Now, these are both losses. I mean, his only, yeah, the two guys that are in the UFC that he's fought, three guys in the UFC that he's fought or have been to the UFC, he's all lost to. So, yeah, I don't know. But if this fight goes past the first round, then I would expect the Ghost Pepper to win. I'm picking T Rex. John also has T Rex. But if you're the type to place bets while the fight's going on, after the first round, I wouldn't pick Terrence McKinney. He doesn't do especially well after that. He gets shot out of a cannon, but he's not especially aerodynamic, if you get what I mean. After that first round, he slows way, way down. Ooh, wait a minute. What am I talking about? Yeah. Actually, I don't even know if this guy's going to slow down, but I do know that he's only seen the second round once and the third round once. Second round twice and third round once. Other than that, every single one of his fights is like a 17-second victory. That dude gets shot out of a cannon so fast, and he hits super hard. Super, super hard. T-Rex should have this, but like I said, if Gonzalez can slow the fight down, I wouldn't expect T-Rex to be the same in round 2 as he is in round 1. Your next fight is Augusto Sakai versus Sergey Spivak. Sergey Spivak was also super young when he got to the UFC. Like, he's 27 now. I think he's also been in the UFC for like 5 years. 3 years. Okay. So he got to the UFC at 24, but that's super young for a heavyweight. The Walt Harris loss, neither here nor there, not really that big of a deal, but, you know. And a Marcin Tybura loss, that that one looks a little better than a Walt Harris loss. But other than that, like, he beat Tai Tuivasa, and I remember him making it look pretty easy. Beat Carlos Felipe, beat Jared Bandera. Beating Alexei Olenek is actually the one that stands out to me. Anybody in the UFC can beat Greg Hardy. Has he been cut yet? I think that was his last fight. Yeah, his last fight was Sergey Spivak back in March. And then it's no big deal to lose to Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall's clearly gifted and will do really, really well when he gets back from his injury, I would assume. But Augusto Sakai looked really, really good coming up for a while here. Other than his 3 in a row. He's on a 3-fight skid. He looked so good right before that. What's up, Mijo?
What's that?
Headphones, you stink. You smell sweaty. You been sweating? You been doing stuff? Your foot stuck?
Yeah.
I'm keeping it. I'm keeping that foot. I'm keeping that foot. You can't have that foot. Yeah, I'm almost done. All right. Man, I don't know. Augusto Sakai seems to just be on a bad skid. but I don't think Sergey Spivak is the guy to maintain that run. Polar bear team. Huh. Moldova. Yeah, he's not the guy who's gonna flatline him, and that's what's happened in the other fights. And then I'm pretty sure Sakai is pretty good on the ground. No toques eso. Let's see, who did I pick? I wrote it down. Oh, I picked Sakai. Yeah, yeah, I'm thinking Sakai. John picked Spivak. Your next fight is the finale of The Ultimate Fighter. Uh, Juliana Miller versus Brogan Walker for the what is 125? Maybe 115. I forget what. 125. uh, I actually have a personal connection to Juliana Miller. She used to own my dog when he was a puppy. But I haven't trained with her or anything like that. I don't actually know a ton about. I know she's good at jujitsu. Right, like I've seen her compete in jiu-jitsu, seen her traveling all over and doing all sorts of craziness while competing in jiu-jitsu tournaments. And then I know she obviously did pretty well on the show, but I haven't seen a ton of her fight. Um, Brogan Walker, I literally have not heard of before this fight right here, because honestly, who watches The Ultimate Fighter? That's just not a thing that people do. But if that's what it takes to get you into the UFC, go for it. Do your thing. I am picking Juliana Miller, and John has picked Brogan Walker. The heavyweight finals for the Ultimate Fighter versus Zach Payuga versus Muhammad Usman. Both of these guys are actually football guys. Zach Payuga was on the practice squad for I forget which team, like the Rams or something like that. Um, he's actually a light heavyweight, but competed at heavyweight on the show just because it's easier to compete out of your weight class. And then Muhammad Usman actually hasn't been fighting for that long, given given the name that's attached to him. He spent a while trying to be a professional football player. Um, I forget if he made a team and got cut or what exactly happened. Um, but he's only actually been fighting since 2017, which I think is about when Payuga started. Let's see. Payuga started in 2019. So both of these guys are fairly new to MMA. Only a couple of years. Well, 5 years is decent. But I'm expecting Usman to have the quality training around him, right? He comes out of Fortis MMA. So I know he's got good training partners and good coaching. And the Motor. His nickname is the Motor. Wonder if this guy doesn't get tired. Is this a heavyweight that doesn't get tired? That'd be awesome. But I picked Usman, and John has picked Payuga. Your co-main event is Jeff Neal versus Vicente Luque. That is your fight of the night. 100% Jeff Neal versus Vicente Luque. Vicente Luque is your fight of the night. Jeff Neal's losses are all to like superstars. Yeah, Neil Magny, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Kevin Holland. Like all three of those guys are or were ranked in the top 15. He's got a win over Bilal Muhammad, a win over Nico Price. He might have the cleanest striking in all of the UFC. There is zero fat on his technique. Everything he does is technically perfect. And the dude is stupid fast. Stupid fast. So I am leaning towards Jeff Neal. John has picked Vicente Luque. Main event of the night is Thiago Maheta Santos, the Sledgehammer, versus Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill. Thiago Santos has not looked the same since coming off those knee injuries. I don't even know if it's like he can't fight the same, um, or if it just having that year off and going through those extensive surgeries and coming back. I think it might have even been more than a year off. Might have been 2 years off. John Jones. Oh, not. It was barely over a year before he came back. He just doesn't look as vicious as he used to. And there's some guys who can be a little bit less vicious and they'll be all right. But that was kind of his defining feature, was how scary it was to fight him, because he was going to throw wheel kicks at 100%, and he was literally going to put his heart in his hand and throw that at you too, just anything and everything. He's been in the UFC since 2013. That's a long time. But Jamal Hill's got really, really good striking. I don't expect Jamal Hill to get caught by one of those wild kicks if he does decide to throw them. And Jamal Hill has shown that he can take a shot too, right? Like, fought OSP, no big deal. Fought Johnny Walker, no big deal. Jimmy Crute, no big deal. I'm pretty sure this Darko Stosiak guy tried to take him down a whole bunch of times. I was there for that fight, but I can't remember offhand. Darko Stosiak. Oh yeah, that guy took him down 6 times, but wasn't able to really do anything with it. I don't know if anybody else has taken him down. Yeah, there have been no other takedowns in any of his fights. He's never attempted a takedown in the UFC. Oh my God, he lands 7 strikes per minute and only absorbs 3.7. Like, that's really good. That's really, really good. Jamal Hill looks better and better every single fight. Where does he train out of? Doesn't even say. Yeah, keep your eye on Jamal Hill. If you haven't already, he's definitely going to win this fight. Both John and I agree. And then watch him to see when he makes it to a title shot. All right, that's a wrap. This time and every time, thank you for being here.